Hello learners, welcome to today's session. Today we will be discussing about feedback and surveys, tools and activities, part 2. I am Lalita Bisht from Department of Computer Science and IT, Uttarakhand Open University. In the last lecture, we discussed about feedbacks and survey in digital marketing. Other than that, we discussed feedback mechanism and its type. And also, we discussed about the survey tools for entrepreneurs. In today's lecture, the learning objectives will be to understand the techniques of creating effective questionnaires for surveys and also to understand the usage of feedback in improving digital marketing strategies. Effective questionnaire designed for surveys. Designing an effective questionnaire is crucial for gathering meaningful data. In this lecture, we'll explore the key principles and best practices to create surveys that yield high quality insights and drive actionable decisions. Importance of well-designed survey. There are mainly two importance of well-designed survey. First, reliable data. A well-crafted questionnaire ensures you collect accurate, unbiased data to inform your decision making. And second, increased engagement. A thoughtful survey design will keep respondents engaged, leading to higher completion rates. Identifying clear objectives. It is very important to identify clear objectives. That can be done by two methods. First, to define goals, and second, to identify the target audience. Start by clearly defining the goals and purpose of your survey. Understand what insights you need to gather. And secondly, target audience. We need to identify a target audience and tailor the survey to their needs and perspectives. Drafting relevant questions. First, ask the right question. And second, use clear language. Asking right question means crafting questions that directly address your survey goals and provide the necessary data. And using clear language here means to ensure questions are easy to understand and are free of jargons or ambiguity. Jargon means any technical words that are being used, or ambiguity means well-meaning words should be avoided. Optimizing question structure. Question structures can be optimized in two ways. We can include both close-ended questions and open-ended questions. So, how can we include close-ended questions? Use multiple choice questions, rating scales, or yes or no types questions for quantitative analysis. And open-ended question include open-ended question to gather qualitative insights and feedback. Now, it is very important while framing the questionnaire that we ensure a logical flow. How can we do that? To ensure a logical flow of the questionnaire, we should follow a particular flow in which the questions should be put in. First, the questions should include introductory part. Say, start with an engaging introduction that sets the context and motives of participation. Then we should move on to progression, like grouping the related questions together and guide respondents through a natural flow. And finally, the conclusion. Conclusion should be like end with a clear call to action and an opportunity for additional feedback. Sequential questions and sections for logical flow can be understood with the help of this flow diagram. Like at first step, we should start with simple questions, and then we should move on to questions and like progressive questions, and finally the conclusive question. Piloting and refining the questionnaire. Now, it is very important that we always pilot a questionnaire. What is a pilot test? First of all, we should conduct a pilot survey to evaluate effectiveness of a questionnaire. At the second level, we should gather feedback, collect input from a sample group, and identify the area of improvement. And finally, we should refine the questionnaire based on the pilot result and feedback. Now, what is piloting? Actually, piloting is the process of testing the questionnaire on small group of respondents similar to the target population before it's fully deployed. And the purpose of such piloting is to identify potential issues with question clarity, structure and length. Then we should assess whether the question collects the intended data. We should also ensure respondents understand and can answer the questions appropriately. Now, steps in piloting a questionnaire. First of all, recruit test respondents. Choose individuals who represent your target audience. Secondly, conduct the pilot test. Administer the questionnaire in the same manner it will be used in the main survey. Then, collect feedback. Ask participants for feedback on question wording, flow, and ease of response. And finally, analyze the pilot result. Identify problematic questions like misunderstood or skipped questions, or look for inconsistency or unexpected responses. How to refine the questionnaire? Refining is the process of revising the questionnaire based on feedbacks and insights from the pilot test. The key activities which can be done for refining the questionnaire are rewriting ambiguous or confusing questions, removing redundant or irrelevant questions, adjusting the order of questions for better flow, ensuring response options are clear and comprehensive, checking for spelling or grammatical error. Now, if we try and understand all these in detail, like rewriting ambiguous or confusing questions, all the questions which seem to be a question which were misinterpreted or understood in double manner should be rewritten. Removing redundant or irrelevant question that can be spotted out, that those questions which are asked in a repeated way, that should be removed from the questionnaire. Adjusting the order of question for better flow. Now it should be the questionnaire should have a proper flow. So sometimes it may happen that we have to adjust the order of the question for a better flow, and ensuring the responses options are clear and very comprehensive in nature. And finally, checking for spelling or any grammatical error if any. So that is how we can refine a questionnaire. Steps involved in piloting a questionnaire. Benefits of piloting a questionnaire and refining. First of all, it improves the reliability and validity of questionnaire. Second, it enhances the user experience for respondents. Third, it reduces the likelihood of error in the data. And finally, it saves time and resources by identifying issues early. Now, analyzing the survey data effectively. Now, this is a random example. These are the random values which have been opted. When we are analyzing a survey's data, there are two major factors on the basis of which we can analyze any survey data. First is the response rate, and second is the accuracy. What is the response rate? Monitor the completion rate to ensure that the survey is engaging and accessible. Now, if a survey will be engaging, then only there are chances that we will be able to achieve maximum responses. And if response rate is higher, that means the questionnaire is effective. For example, opted for say 80% is the response rate. What does accuracy means? Analyze the data for patterns, trends, and insights to inform your decision. In the answers which are supporting you to make proper decisions, show the accuracy rate. Now, if the accuracy rate is higher, that means the questionnaire have been well framed. Now, these were the basic techniques for creating an effective question. Next, we'll try and identify the usage of feedback in improving digital marketing strategies. Improving digital marketing strategies with feedback. Digital marketing strategies are continuously evolving, and feedback from customers, clients, and internal teams play a crucial role in driving improvement. By effectively gathering, analyzing, and acting on feedback, organizations can optimize their digital marketing efforts and achieve greater success. Understanding the power of feedback. That can be done by enhancing the customer experiences. Feedback helps businesses better understand their audience needs, pain points, and preferences, enabling them to tailor their digital marketing strategies accordingly. Drives innovation. Feedback can inspire new ideas, features, and approaches, empowering businesses to stay ahead of the competition and meet the evolving demands of their market. Types of feedback in digital marketing. There are basically 4 types of feedback in digital marketing. First is the quantitative feedback. Metrics such as website analytics, conversion rate, and social media engagement provide numerical insights in the performance of digital marketing. Such feedback is termed as quantitative feedback. What is the qualitative feedback? Customer reviews, surveys, and direct communication offers valuable quantitative insights. So that sort of feedback is a quantitative feedback. Indirect feedback, competitive analysis, indirect feedback, competitive analysis, industry trends, and market revolves the indirect feedback in digital marketing. And finally, the employee feedback, inputs from the employees, sales team, or any team within the organization is the employee feedback. Gathering customer feedback. Customer feedback can be gathered in 4 major ways: through surveys, through reviews, through live chats, and through emails. Surveys. Collect structured feedback through online surveys or in-person interview to gain insight into customer preferences. Other than surveys, we can opt for reviews. Monitor and analyze customer reviews on websites, social media platform, and third-party review sites to understand their experiences. Other than that, we have the option of live chat. Engage with customer in real time through live chats. Support together immediate feedback and address their concern. And finally, we have the option of email. So solicit feedback through emails can also be collected. So these are the 4 major ways through which feedback from customer can be collected in digital marketing. Analyzing feedback data. First, we can identify trends. Analyze feedback data to uncover recurring theme or any patterns and pain points that can inform your digital marketing strategy. So that is the first task we can do. We can identify the trends, then prioritize improvements, prioritize feedback based on its potential impact and ease of implementation to ensure your efforts yielding the greatest returns. And then we can have segment feedback by customer, demographics, say behavior or other relevant criteria that can also be done. And finally, the benchmark performance. Compare feedback data over time to measure the effectiveness of your digital marketing strategies. That can also be done. So these are the 4 methods for analyzing feedback of data. Identifying improvements opportunities. That can be done by 4 major ways: website optimization, content refinement, channel diversification, and products and service improvements. So we can optimize websites for this purpose to improve, to identify any improvement opportunities. We can use feedback to enhance the user experience, improve website navigation, and optimize content or 2 for better engagement. Then we can also do content refinement, adjust the tone, messaging, and format of a digital content to better resonate with your target audience. And we can also channel diversification. Leverage feedback to identify new digital channels or platforms that can effectively reach and engage your target audience. And finally, product or service improvement. Incorporate customer feedback to enhance your product or service, addressing pain points and improving the overall customer feedback. Now, implementing feedback-driven challenges. First is prioritize, second is plan, third is communicate, and finally execute. Prioritize means carefully prioritize the feedback-driven changes based on that potential impact and feasibility. Then plan, we can develop a comprehensive plan to improve the selected changes. Then next we can communicate, effectively communicate the changes to entire team. We can communicate the changes which are required or are effective to the entire team engaged. And finally, we have to execute. Effortlessly, we have to execute the plan changes. This is how it works. This is how the changes are actually driven. So again, these are the random values taken as example for measurement of the impact of feedback. Again, there are 4 factors which can be used for that purpose. Say first factor is increase conversion rate, and if we say that 20% rate is the conversion rate or the increased conversion rate, that means after implementing feedback driven changes, website conversion rate has increased by 20%, increasing or indicating improved customer experience. Then next factor is improved customer satisfaction. Say if we say it's 35%, again it's a random value which can be anything else also. Customer satisfaction scores increased by 35%, reflecting the positive impact of the implemented changes. And third factor is higher engagement. Say if it is 15%, then social media engagement and interaction rate increased by 15%, demonstrating the effectiveness of the changes which have been implemented. And say finally, reduced churn is if 12%, that means customer churn has reduced by 12%. That means it is increasing the loyalty of customer. Now, why measure feedback impact? Why do we need to measure that? First of all, understand the effectiveness of feedback mechanism. It is important to measure the feedback impact so as to understand the effectiveness of a feedback mechanism. And secondly, to determine if the feedback leads to desired changes or any improvement. And third, to identify areas for continuous refinement in the process or outcomes. And finally, to foster a culture of accountability and growth. Now, key matrices for measuring impact. First is quantitative. Improvement in performance, for example, say test scores or sales growth or quality metrics that can be measured. Then reduction in error rates or complaints, and then engagement matrices like participation rate or survey completion rate. These can be the quantitative matrices. Second, qualitative matrices. First, they like changes in attitude, behavior or decision making. That's a quality. That can be a qualitative metric. Then stakeholder satisfaction level. That is another qualitative metric. And finally, narrative feedback of test or testimonials. It's another qualitative metrics. And finally, actionability here can be evaluated through percentage of feedback that led to actionable changes and timeliness of in impacting the feedback suggestions. Methods to measure feedback impact. Before and after. Measure performance indicators before and after feedback implementation. Feedback surveys. Use follow-up surveys to assess the perceived effectiveness of feedback. Case studies. Analyze specific example where feedback led to measurable outcomes. And stakeholder interviews. Gather detailed insight from those affected by feedback-driven changes. Challenges in measuring feedback impact. Attribution. Isolating the impact of feedback from other influencing factors. Subjectively in interpretation of qualitative feedback, and ensuring consistent data collection across time. Challenges in measuring the feedback impact. Attribution. Isolating the impact of feedback from other influencing factors. Subjectively in interpreting qualitative feedback. Ensuring consistent data collection across time. So finally, talk of the conclusion. The key role of feedback can be measured from 4 factors. Enhance customer experiences, drive continuous improvement, gain a competitive edge, and finally foster customer loyalty. So these are the 4 key roles of feedback. This is actually what feedback does for any organization which is working under digital or using digital marketing. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing about employability prospects in digital publicity world, challenges and opportunities. Thank you.